Okay, before we get started, let me just say that I am a son in a father and son independent musical instrument business. Occasionally, I get repair jobs in that I want to video, mainly because I want to remember what I did in case I have to do the same thing on another instrument. So I don't intend for these to be how-to repair videos. I mainly make these videos for entertainment purposes. If you should happen to learn something that you think might help you repair the same item that you have, please proceed at your own risk, because there are a lot of dangerous components in here that could harm you or your instrument. So, with that said, let's get to the video. We have a Roland Micro Cube RX that has come into the shop, and the customer says that the amplifier select switch is not working. No matter where you turn it, it's just a clean sound. I've listened to it and it sounds like it's stuck on the acoustic setting, and when you turn everywhere else, it does not change. So you can't get all your high gain stack amplifiers or your British combo. So I'm going to have to break this open. So I thought I would make a disassembly video, because lots of times I forget how to do this stuff. And if I make a video of it, I can remember how. I tried to find one on YouTube, and Roland has quite a few different cube amplifiers, and there's some that are similar. So I got a good idea what to do, but this one will be for the Micro Cube RX. All right, to get this panel out of the amplifier, you've got these two screws up here you got to take out. Then on the back you have two here, and two here. Once all those screws are out, then you can pull the panel out. Now, for my purposes, I did not disconnect the speaker wires. I'm sure it wouldn't be that big a deal, but I just left them connected. Another thing is that this thing, when it's in here, it was, because of these felt pads or whatever they were, it was almost like adhesive. It was kind of stuck. So I had to stick a screwdriver in there and kind of break the bond between this and the inside of the cabinet to loosen it up. Okay, now this board has got to come out. And there are three screws, 1, 2, and 3 right there that have to be taken out. This input jack, we have to take the nut off of there, and it's a small circuit board here that will just pull right out. You don't have to disconnect this, but you do have to pull it out there. And let's see, then on the back side over here, you don't have to worry about this screw or this right here. You don't have to take that out. This screw does have to come out. This screw does have to come out. And once again, there are nuts that go on here that you have to take off. Once you take all that out, then there is this is the on-off switch right here that has to disconnect from this right here. And then there's two ribbon cables. These two ribbon cables right here have to disconnect from here and here. And at that point, this board will come out and you have access to the last board that is in there. The last step is to remove the board that has all the pots and switches on them and buttons. And the way you do that is you take the nut and washer off of each one of these. You have this whole row right here, and then you have this row right here. Now you'll notice these knobs right here go on these 5. This knob, there's 2 of these knobs, so they'll be on your rhythm guide, a little bit smaller. The nut and washer on this is a switch. This is not a volume pot. So this one, nut and washer, is a little bit smaller, and your nut and washer on your amplifier selector switch is a little bit larger. And then the nuts and washers for everything else is the same size. This amplifier selector switch will also have the same knob as your equalizer and your effects and your delay and reverb, your gain and your volume. So take the knobs off, take the nuts and the washers off, and then on the inside where the board's at, you've got 3 of these little silver screws that you have to take out, which were the same as on the first board we removed. You've got one right here, you've got one back here in the corner, and you got one down here on that corner. Take those 3 screws out and this board will lift right out. Now that the control board is out, I was able to replace this. This is the bad selector switch. Now I will say that Roland has other micro cube amplifiers or cube amplifiers, and I just so happened to have a Micro Cube GX in the shop that I was working on. And when I was in the troubleshooting phase, one thing I thought about doing is just taking the selector switch off this and putting it on the RX to see if that was truly the problem. However, not all micro cubes use the same selector switch. This selector switch actually looks a lot like the rest of the pots on the circuit board, except, you know, when you turn it, it clicks into spots where these others are just a dial like a volume or tone pot would be. Yeah, here's the old one right here. You can see they look a lot different too. This one essentially just has the three points where we were talking about this one having the 5 pins on both sides. So I hopped onto eBay to see if I could find a replacement part, and there was nothing for the Micro Cube RX, but this seller did have a Roland Cube 60 lead channel switch for sale, 8 position, which is what I need. This model number, I guess it's Alpha SR1712F. It looks identical to the one that's in the circuit board. I ordered those. I've got the new selector switch put in. It has 10, these 5 and these 5 are the control terminals, and then these 2 hold the actual switch onto the board, I believe. So let's put this back together and see if we can now select the different amp modes. Earlier I had mentioned that that part on eBay was showing as a Cube 60 as opposed to a Micro Cube RX. And you can see that the shaft is just a little bit longer. So it makes the knob stick up just a little bit higher than the other knobs, but as long as it works, I don't think that's a problem. Okay, so we're going to test the amp out here. Power it up. So we've got some volume on the guitar. That's good. That's the acoustic simulation setting. But that was working before. Let's go to the next setting, which is a JC Clean Jazz Chorus. Got to put some chorus on there. Good. Next one is a black panel. Good. Brit combo. Classic. Good Lord. That is some high gain. Next one's metal. And then the rectifier. All right, looks like we're working.